Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing? It says we're live, and thus I believe what it's telling us. So, welcome to a second look, and please welcome my co host, Miss Trina. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, Wayne. How about you?
Hey, listen, been a fabulous day. I sent you a picture. I just finished baking a pineapple upside down cake in our cast iron skillet.
Yes, you like to tease me with food. I love food. And you're like, show me all this awesome food. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
hungry.
I think I actually showed you last week or when I did the lasagna. It was like,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
check this
Oh
out.
my mouth was watering. And like you were saying, Lynn's like, where's the wine? I was like smelling it. I was like, you're like, this is when you really want smell-o-vision. I'm like, I already have it. Thank you.
Exactly. If
That
we
mouth
could,
watering.
it goes to show you how our brains are so susceptible to what we see. They invoke heavy emotion. And
Absolutely.
so I'm sitting in here in my office, and of course, the house is wafting full of the baking. So, yeah. So, anyway, I'm punishing myself.
Absolutely.
Well, I just want to say hello to all everyone. Nick is in the room, and David Barry, and Lois, Gage and Queen, and all the moderators. You people are beautiful. And just thank you for joining us in this hour of what we kind of like to do, just kind of give a second look at topics that we think we know, we ought to know, we should know, but we don't know. So,
Yeah, we're learning. We're
yeah,
remembering.
we
Yeah.
really are.
Yes.
Um, Lisa Barnett will be on Friday, and I'm really looking forward to that, Trina, and seeing the understanding of memory, how memory is transmuted at death.
Hmm.
I mean, if memory isn't, then I don't know how you would then have individuality.
I think it's literally attached to our auric field, and
Yeah.
it's one of our bodies. It's called the mental causal body that you hold. And I
Mm,
think that's how you can access the Akashic records, because this thing goes with you through every lifetime. And
yes.
I think that this is what they talk about in the Bible, the two witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as I was doing the show yesterday was really amplifying the fact that the stories are basically all the same. The afterlife, I have about three or four. The journey of the souls is one. Multidimensional man is another. But when you step back, Trina, and you look at this and you take out some of those key words, but look at the story,
Yeah.
they're certainly, how should we say, have a lot of synchronicity to them.
They're almost like they all carry the same process. How they go to that process is the only difference is their perceptions, which is formed their personality and their personal reality. But the process seems to be the same with every single person. No matter what their belief system is, no matter what.
Yeah.
Yep. They all see some type of a light. They're drawn into a life review. They're met with guides or whatever, and then they go to wherever they vibrate.
Yeah, yeah, and we're going to get in more this week into the work of Mr. Swedenborg, I believe is his last name. Interesting thing, when I came upon him was the fact that that book that he wrote was written back in the 1700s.
I know, isn't that profound?
It's very profound and in Sweden. And when I was beginning to look at it, Christianity had not really penetrated into the cultural mindset. It was still kind of in, much of the old ways of belief.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the more the earth based, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I hadn't forgotten to invoke favor in everybody. We we just talk, and so we just invoke favor, the kind of favor that just makes you feel loved, and we just pour an extra portion upon you. Nothing missing, nothing broken be in your life. And if you'll confess that every day, you'll be surprised. It works.
Oh, it does.
It does work.
It
So
does.
Trina, I pulled back up our friend Emmanuel's book,
Mhm.
and what I find so interesting, um, all the times that you and I talk, you talk about your visit with the Lord.
Yeah, that was what I was freaking out when you were reading that yesterday. I'm like, oh my God.
Yes, and um, this is going to be a fascinating book, folks. I mean, this is going to be a journey as I've been getting to read this.
Because like, wait, that's what I would see. This guy was the Lord,
Yep.
okay, and it's masculine and feminine, and it's everywhere. Like there's been times where I've been up in this realm, and there's lots of him. Like he's everywhere, talking to all kinds of different people. So when you're reading that, I was so blown away because I
Hmm.
was like, whoa, that is so what I remember when I was a little kid.
That's an interesting concept that you just said, and I can
Oh yeah, he
actually
was
see it.
everywhere. He was everywhere, everywhere. Like you had your own personal access with this being. Like, like we were all part of it. It was the most amazing love and this unity and this like he's so kind and loving. Like, you have a question, he'll just tell you all about it. It was just that was
I
the relationship that I had with this being, and I could full on remember. It was like this was like the heavenly realm, and it was a very high level, and it was filled with light, never any darkness, magical kingdoms everywhere, everywhere you traveled by thought. And this being, the Lord, was like my personal invisible friend, spirit guide, but it was never a worship thing. It was like a guidance thing.
mm,
Yeah, very different than religion, you
and I
know?
bet you that the Lord would show up as a female as well. I mean,
It
depending
was
on
always the standard Jesus guy in the robe thing, which was
yeah,
weird because I'd never been to church. I
yeah,
had no knowledge of Jesus, none.
yeah. And I say
And
that's
I
been
had a
hijacked.
very clear vision. But, the energy of this being is completely everything. It's the most mothering, nurturing. Oh, it's the comforter. That would be a great word. The comforter.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, this being is an amazing being, like I said. Wow.
In here, he talks about the fact that when he spoke with the angels on this subject, this is the thing that blows away the whole Christianity, the whole bit, but we'll just let him talk. And he said, and they inevitably declared that in heaven, they are unable to divide the divine into three because they know and perceive that the divine is one, and this one is the Lord.
Yep.
They also said that those of the church who come from this world having an idea of three divine beings cannot be admitted into heaven since their thoughts wander from one divine being to another
Yep.
and is not allowable there to think three and say one, because in heaven, everyone speaks from his thought, since speech there is the immediate product of the thought, or the thought speaking. Consequently, those in this world who have divided the divine into three and have adopted a different idea, each have not made that idea one and centered it in the Lord. I mean, Trina, this is what you have been saying, and they cannot be received into heaven, at least that level.
Yeah, and that's what he kept telling me. You got to remember, make the two one. You got to be everything because it is everything. You can't once you get to the higher levels, there's no more separation. It's like, once you like the Lord is the closest thing that you can get to before you're absorbed back into source. That was what
Mm-hmm.
I understood. So like there's a source above the Lord that's huge, but you can't really perceive this. But it's everywhere and it's there and it can speak because I've heard it speak
Well, I
with
think it
the
could probably
Lord
speak no
present.
matter what.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's like the Lord to me seems like it might be actually our soul.
Very interesting. I'm going to do a complete program on the whole idea of the soul.
Well, remember how you say one soul, many spirits? That's what
Yeah,
time
yeah,
is like. Yes, we are one soul of the Lord. The
yeah.
Lord. We have this, and I wonder too, like if you get out of this construct, if you go into another atom, which has another pattern, which might be another angelic Lord, like their
Hmm.
sons, bodies, their sons. It's yeah. I'm seeing
And
the
that's what he
atom.
described the Lord as, is a
Yeah.
son.
That's what it is to me. It's like the closest visible thing that you could get to before you're totally just in the light, which would you would absorb into it. Then all separation, individuality, awareness of self is gone. It's like you're just one with everything, and then you'd be birthed out again probably. But yeah, that's like, don't get too close. You gonna go in,
And I think that, too, we were looking at a lot of different resources yesterday. And the one that I found interesting was in the correlation to Emmanuel's vision, is that she was there. And as this woman was saying, that it's the frequency. You,
Yes.
you, you, you can't exist where that frequency is.
That's what I understand. That's like the one time you're like, I think I'd like to have, some tea with Lucifer. I'm like, man, the light bearer, and like, I don't know if our frequency, we could even process being in that kind of vibration, because it is vibration and they're at a higher vibration than we are in flesh. So yeah, it is all about vibration, and even beyond the physical, it's even more so about vibration in the higher realms.
You would need a condenser, what we would call it in distributing electrical power. You can't take it from the main source. It has
Yeah.
to be stepped down.
Yes.
Very, and it becomes so much more clear when you start getting all the ambiguity
Mhm.
removed. Because I think for so many people, I know I answer emails every day. I get behind, but there are so many people who, one person wrote me, um, she has passed on, crossed over, but she did write, and she said, you've made me not afraid of death.
Yeah.
And I think that if there's one thing that we can do in this community that's growing, is to make sure that that is universally felt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's huge.
I think
It it
so.
it it would reduce the fear factor of existence
Tremendously.
on such on a magnitude. It would shift our reality.
Yes,
It would.
yes.
It literally would, because it would shift the vibration of how we vibrate. Because our one of our most primal, biggest subconscious fears is death. And it's because our body has its own awareness and it's very aware of its own death.
Yeah, and apparently the body, when once it gets animated with the spirit, has its own spirit.
Yeah.
Lilith taught us that.
Yes.
And it's amazing how now you start reading it everywhere. Yeah, the body and the spirit. Yeah, it has one.
It
And I
does.
can understand when I talk to my body each morning, I lay hands on myself. I speak favor into my body. I speak to my genetic code. I speak to the code of cell rejuvenation, cell regeneration. But the thing I have told my body time and time again is that it has been the most intimate lover that I have ever known.
Yeah.
And it
It's the
is.
best friend, the
Yes.
constant companion, never leaves your side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's the only way that you can be present in this here reality now.
And I think the body responds to that. It's like, well, hey, dude, far out. It's like,
It
yeah,
does. It does, Wayne, because water, you're so much water. And what you tell water, it becomes. Science has proven this now. So it's not just a metaphysical concept anymore. We can scientifically validate it because we are water,
I love
vibrating
this.
water. So yeah, what you tell water, water becomes. So that's
Folks,
part, yeah, it's one of the best ways to reprogram the physical body is to literally connect to the gratitude of water. And it's the
yeah,
whole world. It's the whole planet.
You know, what we just did, what you just defined there is this. It takes all the wind out of the sail of the argument of those that say, well, if you do that, that's just the epitome of, narcissism, self-love, and, and it's been many religions teach against that. But what you just said, no, I am water,
Yes.
And
First work is making your water.
yeah.
Yeah, when you restructure your water, anything your field touches restructures the water around it, because the water wants to go to a higher vibration. It naturally wants to attrain.
I love this, folks. Are you getting this? This is what we're talking about. This is why the show is, what it is. But
yeah, I've been thinking a lot about this and consciousness. It seems like even space is water. It seems like everything is water, just in different forms. Even when you look at ether, I think ether is water, but it's just in its more gaseous, etherical concept. It's a higher vibrating form of water. So I think the more etherical and the more it gets higher in vibration, I think the more subtle it becomes and the less detectable it becomes. And that's why I think the highest vibrations of source creation are the most highest frequencies that we have a really hard time perceiving. But nonetheless, they're the foundation of everything in existence.
I call it the embiotic fluid
Yeah.
of creation.
Yeah.
We don't,
So
man
weird. Yeah.
has, yeah. I mean, you can't create something out of nothing.
No.
And I don't believe that the creator is a fraud.
No. There's too much order in
There's principle,
creation.
there's
Yeah.
foundation.
Yeah.
And if you begin to violate laws, then chaos is the result of that.
Yeah, and you know what the Lord would tell me? I says, what's like the most biggest part of creation, source? And he would tell me, he goes, cooperation.
Now that's if you look at that word and you break that down, I don't know if Julianne is with us, but you could look at that cooperation.
Yep.
I
It all
mean,
works together.
yeah, I mean, it's a
All of it.
process.
Yep. And it's intimately connected, and it's perfect in its creation. It's working flawlessly, and it is consistent and never stops.
You
Yeah,
see,
cooperation and benevolence. It was like it's good working together for creation itself. It's creating all the time, and it's benevolent, and that's why I said, like, the closest you get to source is kind of indifferent, because it's a function of creation itself. It's so big. It's like,
I tell people all the time, if we could just learn, for instance, in greeting one another, instead of saying, hello, how are you doing? Could you imagine if we said, favor be unto you?
mm-hmm.
I think that if we were to do this on a collective in intelligence, conscious level,
Yeah.
it can't help but not raise the frequency of which part of this, fluid that we're immersed in.
Well, think about it, Wayne. What we speak, we create.
We do.
Abracadabra. So we're saying hello. We're saying hell.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. Hell is low.
We're in hell. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're stating we're in hell. So yeah, just like good morning. Morning is what you do when people die.
Mm-hmm.
They have us using all of these words that are speaking in a serious negative. So it's talking to our subconscious mind and setting up defeat and sadness, and we don't even know it, because the conscious mind doesn't understand it. Only the subconscious mind does. So all of these words are traps.
Yeah, they are. And it's not that difficult to say, favor be unto you.
No.
When you were saying good morning, it's the famous line of Unexpected Journey, The Hobbit. And, when Gandalf came up and he says, are you saying it's a good morning because the morning is good? Are you saying that this is a good day to mourn? Or, that, you start breaking it down.
Exactly.
But you brought up something I want to, because this is becoming more and more clear to me. I'm writing um, the next installment on this. So, hell, we live in an environment that, number one, we've become very acclimated with, where deception is the norm.
Yeah.
I mean, people, the reason why Halloween's coming up and you have Mardi Gras, where people love to dress up in masks.
Mhm.
But yet that's exactly what we do here.
Yeah.
I contend that the average person has over a dozen different masks.
Yeah, and that would match the 12 archons controlling the zodiac.
Wouldn't it though?
Controlling our system, yeah.
I never thought about that,
That's what they showed me. They're like, this zoo dial controls your physical body. You know how
Yeah.
we say the body has its own consciousness?
Yeah.
This is the direct effect of these overlay systems, is the zodiac and our chakras and all this stuff. Yeah, those are directly affecting us.
According to Facebook, in
We have 12
their,
cranial nerves too, Wayne.
I
Each
love
one has
that.
solar ganglia.
There we go.
I'm telling you, it's like, whoa.
So when we start thinking about this, what science has found out, and companies like Facebook are now deploying, is that they can predict what you are thinking. And you know how they do this? Their cameras that they're doing in the technology looks at the subepidermal layer of our skin. And unbeknownst to human beings is that what our thoughts are transmitting, because we always live in the past, we don't live in the present, it's an illusion, because the brain has already thought it.
Yep.
The body is so slow, although it be microseconds slow, but they can tell exactly what your emotion is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who'd have thought?
My daughter, she was able to see auras when she was little, and it was like she could tell what kind of mood you were in, everything. She'd tell you, oh, you're blue, oh, you're pink. She would totally tell you, and it was a reflection upon your emotion. So
See
yeah, it was nuts. Yeah.
It almost makes you think. I don't know. It when you start to really break this down, you realize that the conflict between the spirit, in which I contend that's what we are. We're spirit. And the body, you can really see sometimes the conflict.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's because the subconscious programs are in the conscious mind, they're not in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and because
it's like when we're trying to do things, start to do something new, and then those self-defeating patterns kick in. Those are because those are programs that you got installed that you haven't yet figured out how to clear.
Mm-hmm.
So once you can get and wipe those out and see them from a different way, they completely just correct themselves. But yeah, this is the work we got to start working on, is getting into the subconscious mind, because this is where all of our remembrance is.
I believe
our
that.
higher guidance.
My meditation has grown to the point where I'm becoming ever more conscious of the limitations that I am held within because of the body.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that, I think that I'm at any spiritual level. What I'm realizing is this coexistence, this codependence. That's a great word, because that's what the spirit and the body, it's almost passive aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many relationships have we been up as we go through life where the relationship is truly a passive aggressive, but yet you're almost drawn to it?
Uh-huh. It's all of our imbalances and our lack of love and self-worth when we were basically, most of this is coming from your childhood stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy, because it's all put in before age 7. So with that, we're just operating with programs, and these programs are dominant by, the physical body expresses the programs of the subconscious mind. And this is where we've been stuck for so long. We haven't learned how to fix the programs in the subconscious mind. and through meditation. And, you know, you get these epiphanies and these awarenesses. Once that happens, there's no going back. Just like when the Godspell got broke. It's like, boom. Once that popcorn is popped, it's done. It changes you and it fixes you and it heals you and it repairs a lot of the old programs that no longer serve us.
Mm. I talk with myself quite often now. Yeah, I always have, but the conversations of late are becoming, I think, more of awareness of this spatial. They say that we exist in 11 dimensions, and if you count the body, that would be 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I meditate on this as I'm getting into my breathing exercises. I'm beginning to think, all right, so you look at 11 different dimensions
Mm-hmm.
of coexistence.
Mm-hmm.
That's heavy. I don't know how, maybe that's where
And you
our
know
thoughts
what?
originate from.
And I don't see this anywhere, but this is literally what the Lord showed me because I wanted to know about that. And he was telling me like all of the stuff that like there's levels of everything. So we got 7 astral layers on our body. There's 7 planets in the solar system, 7 vices, 7 virtues. There's 7 aspects of you know, Brian too, Milky Way Weekly, he was our messenger. He was talking about this, where he was like, we were talking about the chakra system, the tree of light, and then he was like, I wonder if there's a dark tree of light that we're connected to. And I'm like, I know there is. I know there is, because everything here has a shadow expression. So we're looking at 7 different energy fields of a positive, 7 energy of a negative. I'm seeing dolls within dolls within dolls, realities within realities within realities.
You
And
got
it's like,
those Russian Cupid dolls going.
yes,
All right,
yes.
let's stop here a second and rewind the tape because, you know, I did a whole video on this subject and it's one that doesn't get enough attention. So
Mm-hmm.
Brian is right. I mean, if in his thought process is that, yes, there's the duality of this existence.
Yes.
Now, isn't it interesting that when we stand in the light,
Mm-hmm.
that no matter what we do, no matter what object it is, it all casts a shadow.
Yes.
I contend there's a universe that we're not even aware of that exists within the shadow.
Oh, absolutely.
Someone said, define that. Okay, define that is by this. There are life forms that cannot exist in the direct sunlight, the direct light.
Mm-hmm.
They can only exist in the realm that we matter, actually cast within the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
You have the shadow people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there have been trail cams that have caught creatures that are literally in the shadows.
Oh, yeah. That's why I wonder if our shadow self is our 5th dimensional body.
Very good point.
Because I see that the shadow is actually, it's a moving connection to you, and it's dark matter. Dark matter to me is mother, womb, creation, and anything that casts a shadow shows you that the light is being projected down on it. So that's an artificial light source.
Trina, as kids, and I used to do this because, you know, when we go out camping, you do shadow puppets.
Yeah.
Now, isn't it interesting? Because what all you're doing is manipulating the light, or the shadow is becoming more of its identity.
Yes. Yep.
Powerful stuff here.
Yeah, and think about it, you know, the Lost Boys from Never Never Land, you know, they just wanted a mom, right? They wanted a mom. And what was Peter always trying to catch? His shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And what did Wendy do? Wendy helped when they caught the shadow. Wendy stitched it to the bottom of his foot. I think the shadow.
Very good.
I think the shadow is the soul.
Well, all right, because the foot is considered the soul.
Yep.
I mean, it really is. And the foot
Yep.
is directly connected to everything of the body. You get pressure points within the foot. Many diseases can be reversed if there's just more, people understand the reflexology of the foot. the soul.
Yes, it's magic. That's why Jesus would wash feet too. They were telling you about the magical power of washing and putting energy and pressure points and working and massaging feet. Because the whole body is in the foot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whole body, and as well as in the hand and in the ear and in the eye.
Yeah. But the feet are the ones that get the most abuse.
Yes, and I do think they call it the soles of your feet for a reason.
They do. There is. So this is really interesting when you begin to think about this, that from the perspective of the fairy tale of Peter Pan, that embedded within that was some very deep knowledge of, I would say,
Tinkerbell is our consciousness. And
yeah.
remember, fairies die if you don't believe in them. And I think that's
So do
your
gods.
mind shuts down for all the programs telling you that you can't imagine, you don't see ghosts, all this stuff that's killing your magical fairy, your subconscious, the ability to light the pineal gland. Amazing, amazing secret messages in that tale. Blows my mind.
Going to be watching it again. Now, in fact, what I'll do, I'll read the book. The book always, as a child, because of the environment that I grew up in.
And then the crocodile, Wayne, remember,
Think about that.
Time clock in him, and he's going tick tock, tick tock. The reptilians, the connection to Saturn, Father Time. It's crazy.
Well, think about the Egyptians and the crocodile.
Yeah,
the crocodile was the one who would take the soul.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this is
Yeah.
But here again, we're talking about the fact that as adults, we become so dull.
Yes.
We do. We become dull in our understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had tried to shut us down really young.
Well, I can tell you personally, on my channel, I've lost 5,000 plus subscribers because I started teaching magic. And people can't handle it because they have an immediate negative connotation to the word.
Yeah, but yet they go to Disneyland and they want
they do.
And they believe in the religion and the precept they're doing magic. And
there's got those in the video games.
Yeah, we go watch video games that are doing it. Then you have rock concerts that are performing full-on ceremonies right in front of you.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
It is. It is. But it's because we are dulled down. Yes. I love how you say, and it's so true. I'm there's a number of books I'm reading is that they anthropologists suspect that something happened to sapiens, something happened to Neanderthals anyway, about 70,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Where there was
Adam to sleep, Wayne. I know it.
Well,
he did something to Adam.
The imagination is, they say, is what was the gifting that came forth with the ability to speak.
Oh, wow. That's profound.
Because
I've been contemplating that question. Are we the imagination of creation?
That's what distinguishes us. When we speak, we create, and the imagination becomes alive. It says that the creator is the imagination.
Yes, that is what I am. Yes, must agree with that completely. Yes.
Where else would it come from?
It's where it comes from. Yeah.
I mean, when I look at the good evil thing, and I'm going, all right, personally, I'm sick of that duality, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
It is. But I'm thinking at myself, all right, but imagination. You see, I can be in the mire of things, but my imagination can lift me out of that.
Yes.
Oh, crap, I could see this toroidal field. And the same thing, I can imagine being lower.
Yes. You can imagine anything you want to imagine.
Isn't that imagination? Isn't that creation? Isn't that the basis of creation?
And think about it. All you have to do is produce an image.
Holy crap. And I'm just thinking, folks, okay, this has hit me. This is the trap. You get out of education. Now you start going to work, your career. which is in your rear. And you spend your energy for the next 40, 50 years. And what it does, it depletes and closes your creative process.
Yeah.
Because it becomes mundane.
Yeah.
It's work.
Yes. Yes. It's all meant to keep our minds busy and enslaved so we don't tap into these abilities.
Wow. This is an epiphany right here on this show. I mean, the fact that when you begin to seriously equate the concept of a creator, the Lord, would be the epitome of creation.
Yep.
I mean, I marvel at the engineering of the bipedal body.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I see people, because where I live on a green belt, and so I see people running all the time.
Yeah.
And in times, I'll suddenly just stop, Trina, and what I see are lines connecting to joints where you see motion being propelled by force that then has exertion.
Wow, you're seeing kinesiology. That's awesome, Wayne.
That's what I see.
Yeah,
Literally,
that's awesome.
and those, it's bizarre. It really
it's such a process. People don't realize what it takes to pick up a glass of water.
Yeah.
You can't. I had to do projects in kinesiology, and I did a simple task of moving my arm while resting on a table, just rotating the elbow 45 degrees to move the arm. The processes there, I think, just to do that simple process, that's not moving anything else in the body. I think there was over 800 processes that they can identify.
You see, and that's what I get lost. And I watch people's feet.
Crazy.
Because the foot, there is so much going on.
I wouldn't even try to take that onto my project. I'm like, forget it. No way.
I mean,
no way. Yeah.
Lynn has come up to me before, and she'll have to, where are you? And I said, did you see that woman out there? You know, of course, she's already a quarter of a mile down. And Lynn says, no. And I said, well, look at this person here. And she looks at me and she says, where are you from? You know? So, yeah. And then anyway, but it's an amazing process.
Wayne, when I started learning and going to school and learning kinesiology and anatomy and physiology and all these different things, when I started really seeing the biological processes that are happening inside of us all day long that we have no awareness of, that was when I realized that God definitely lives inside of me, because whatever's running this monkey suit is way smarter than I am. I was like, there's no way. I can't run all these with my conscious abilities to run even just the process of my digestion.
I'm just hearing the voice in my head.
Process. You forget one step, it can kill you. And your body's doing this all day, every day, with you not even having to think about it. That is creation. That is God.
What I heard was this: that which runs this body, see, that is the sophistication and of our spirit being. It's beyond our conscious ability.
Yeah. And then once you get past the physical, get into the metaphysical.
Yeah.
That's a whole different universe. And we got that too. Multiple layers of that too. We are miracles, straight up miracles, and powerful beings connected to creation directly. It's inside of us.
I read somewhere where it said that the spirits marvel because all spirits at one time had a physical life. And apparently when we leave these physical bodies, we're going to look back and see the others, and it's going to blow our mind. It's kind of like when you were taking your first roller coaster, and, you get off it and you go, wow, now I experienced that.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the Lord because I did not want to come in. And then,
and I'm beginning to believe that.
I really didn't want to, because I liked where I was at. And, I did not want to come. For whatever reason, I knew how hard it was going to be. And he was
That's why we come in crying.
yeah, he's like, do you have any idea how many want to go? And I was like, well, you just sign them up. I'm okay.
It's like, all right.
I was like, yeah, no. But yeah, I remember that. And he was like, this is Harvard. And if we can reconnect to the things that we're remembering now, it's going to do such amazing things for your soul and your spirit and for creation, because it just proves that benevolence and good can always be in the densest, darkest of evil and still prevail.
Yes. You know, as you were talking, just want to show people what we're getting into, because you have alluded to this and we've been doing this. So this is, again, Emmanuel's, what he sees of heaven. He says, God of heaven is the Lord. These are different chapters. It is the divine of the Lord that makes heaven. In heaven, and the divine of the Lord is love to him and charity towards the neighbor. Heaven is divided into two kingdoms. There are three heavens. The heavens consist of innumerable societies.
Yep.
Each society is a heaven in a smaller form, and
Yep.
each angel in the smallest form.
Yep.
We were just, all heaven is the aggregate reflex of a single man.
Yep.
That's heavy.
That's what I saw, that we're all the soul of this being.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know if it changes once you get into a different body, because I think there's more than just that. I'm seeing some big stuff. I'm trying to wrap my brain around it, Wayne.
Each society in heaven reflects a single man. 10, therefore, every angel is in a complete human form.
Yep.
It is from the Lord's divine human that heaven as a whole and in the past reflects man.
Yeah.
Okay, that one's heavy. There is a correspondence of all things in heaven with all things of man. Wow. There is a correspondence.
You want to know the divine feminine, actually, what he told me the name of the divine feminine truly is? Man.
Man.
Yeah, the creation of man is the divine feminine. That's what it is. It's man. It's the Lord. It's like, that's the son, the man. It's it, man.
And isn't that odd? The next one, chapter 14, the sun is heaven.
Yep.
The light and heat in heaven, the four quarters of heaven, changes of state of the angels in heaven, time in heaven, representatives of appearance in heaven, the garments with which angels appear clothed. That's weird.
Yep.
Places of abode and dwelling of angels. I mean, that's because that's what we were talking about. Where is home? And if this is home for the vast majority of us, OMG, it is complex. It is well defined, organized.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I've always known. It is very perfect in its organization and its cooperation. Everything is where it's supposed to be. It's the most feeling of unity and oneness, because everything is out in the open. It's just it's so hard to put into words, that the feelings that go with these higher realms. And I'm just so grateful that for whatever reason, when I was born, I just didn't lose all of those memories. And then through doing processes of trance work, like going into guided meditations with practitioners and going into my own body, like when I did an ear protocol, that's how I remembered coming into the body and arguing with the Lord, not wanting to come. That was the first time I had any of that awareness. And I was like in my 20s. So, you know, I've gotten different pieces through different ways, but the foundation was really good that I remembered when I was a child. I remembered the Lord. I literally, and when I found out that if I told people that I could talk to him, and if I told anybody this, that they would tell me that I couldn't, and I eventually would forget and lose it and not be able to. I think that I just got so freaked out on that concept when I was little. I anchored it super hard in my being through invocation. It held.
No, I believe that. I believe the spirit can invoke.
I stomped my foot 3 times in a church, Wayne, with some candle and a key in a closet. And I was 3 years old. I didn't know what I was doing, but I know now what I was doing. And my higher wisdom, like, made that happen, you know?
Yeah.
So, yes, I mean, we have to trust we are so much more, like it's talking about the angelic body,
Mm-hmm.
but I understand that we have an angelic twin that is it's an angel. It's basically, it's a reflection of man in being female and male. They're both. It's everything. And it's everything. So yeah, we're androgynous first, but based on the template of man, which is the human form that we see.
And as you're talking again, I am replaying the tape in my mind where Lilith told us that the autogen, which is it is the heavenly man, the heavenly Adam,
Yes.
that has been separated from the physical Adam.
Yes.
And, you know, as we get into this more and more, you're seeing that story.
Yeah.
It's evident virtually into everything.
Yeah.
And I often wonder, because it takes me on a tale of we don't understand the beginning. I don't know if we ever will. I mean, there's a home for all of us.
I think we understand it when we're in the higher dimensions, based upon how you lived when you were here or were on your other planets. Because I know that we've experienced lives on other planets.
I think that if we could just open the door.
I mean, I wonder sometimes, because we've got the 7 chakras in our planet that go to the 7 planetary bodies, and those are within us. And we're here, we're experiencing on Earth, but I wonder if we have a reality on each and every single one of those other planetary bodies within this solar system, because it's connected to the sun.
Well, here's the deal as I see this. You see, this is where I see the manipulation of our species come in. And when I get on the other side, I'm going to have a conversation with whoever sent me here, because I'm going to say, now, wait a minute. Okay, here's my point. We've been around for how long? Let's just say conservatively 100,000 years. How about that? Not longer, but 100,000, let's just say. And if we were smart when we first came here, which I'm assuming we were, Trina, we should be at that level of intelligence where we should be able to open those doors to that understanding. Mm-hmm. So it means something is inhibiting us,
yes,
from getting there.
They messed with our DNA and shut us down so we would lose our connection to nature and source, which is soul and spirit in communion.
Yeah.
That's why they separated the brain, they separated the DNA. We have dual. It's supposed to be one.
I'm absolutely convinced of it is, because the frustration I sense for our species on a collective level is that we're being screwed in this whole scenario, because what are they afraid of? What are they afraid of? The fact of man in the physical form having an IQ of 4,000 or 5,000. Mm-hmm. We should already be there.
And we are already there in our true form.
I believe that.
And that's what I mean. It's about remembering. And that's why they don't want us to remember, because they know the potential of what can happen if we all decided together to focus on the water inside of our body and turn it into a 7th dimensional vibration and be able to have direct access with our angelic twin, our true template source code of man through the sun and through creator, and activate that wisdom within our bodies. The whole world would change like that. That's not like a spontaneous healing happening on the whole entire planet. It's going to come through the water if it happens.
I keep on getting the idea in my head of Rapunzel. You know, Rapunzel was locked up in the tower, and I often think that is a metaphor for where our spirit is, our true spirit being. We're locked in this cage, in this body, in this thing we call our emotions. Mm-hmm. And we're watching this play out in front of us. Mm-hmm. They're using us. I mean, we're the ones controlling the whole thing, but it's almost like they're manipulating it. Does that make sense?
by their default. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And we have been for thousands of years because we give our power away.
And look what it's gotten us. It's
It's
gotten
gotten
us
us
a
hell.
living hell.
Hell.
Exactly. Thank you.
Hell. Hell.
If anything, I will say this of what modern man has contributed to humanity is that he brought hell on earth.
Yeah.
I don't think hell existed maybe 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. It was a survival, but not this.
Yeah, when you have 500,000 kids dying of starvation, we're just letting babies starve to death. We're in hell. This is a level of hell, and we're creating it, so we're going to be accountable for that. But it's it's also too, you look at the energy and the vibration of existence, and if you do truly start to comprehend that every single one of us are creating our reality somehow, some way. So that means that all of those people going through that suffering for some reason, either that's karmic debt replay, and they're volunteering to go through that experience to clean up some of their own mess, or they came to learn suffering, because you sign up for these agreements. That's hard to believe because I see so much hell, but I understand in the knowing of the universal creator that within this realm, everything has to have its opposite to be true.
Okay, so I'm taking this from experience. So contracts are signed,
Yeah.
but contracts are broken.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I mean, we may have signed up on a contract, but I think something happened down here. I keep on thinking of the internet as the beast that I don't think we realized, but that's who I think the beast is. I don't believe in.
It is, Wayne, but it's also going to have its opposite, which is going to be, we've now been connected to the internet, okay? But this also, the opposite is going to be the connection to the divine Ethernet.
Okay, so let's follow this out. So if a group of people got together using the medium of the internet, and you'd have to have sophisticated, mature people to do this because it would require a great deal of concentration.
Mm-hmm.
But then to collectively combine our psychic focus together and punch through the ether, because this is where I think the internet, I get the electronics. I was there in the very beginning, get it. But I also know that this has a spirit.
Yes.
Someone recommended that I go to Amazon Prime, and I did. There's a series Amazon Prime has called Branded. And this guy can see the thought forms of corporations. Oh, it's weird. Mm-hmm. But I'm beginning to think that this is more and more what it is.
It has to be, because it would be the imitation of creation's intelligence.
It'd have to be.
Yeah. But the creation's organic intelligence, it's always first. The energy is always first. And this is capturing and copying the energy that we are giving it. It's getting it all from us, because we are the source of the imagination. We are the creators on this plane. It's us, the human beings. So it's trying to copy what we are, but it will never match creation.
And the chat room's going crazy on this because the thought is that it invokes a lot of different emotions out of people.
God, yes, we're so connected to it.
Well, the number one problem with employers in America, in fact, this is pretty much in most industrialized, and it's costing America absolutely tens of billions of dollars, is the lack of focus and concentration. Everyone's focused in on their cell phone.
Yeah.
It's disrupting work, wrecks. I mean, so something's happening here, Trina.
Uh-huh. I think the internet is such a powerful thing because it's bringing us back to our organic telepathic abilities and telepathic cellular communication. Notice they call it the cell phone, because that's how we communicate. Because a cell of me is in a cell of you, because within your cell is the entire universe. So
No, I get
within,
that.
yeah, within, right. So the as above, so below. So that's I am you and you are me and we are one and we is we, because it's all one. Every single body is containing the universe in it. And then it's also within the cell, it's containing a universe. And then within that cell are a trillion atoms, and each atom contains the code of the universe within it.
No,
This is dolls within dolls within dolls, layers within layers within layers.
well, let me just come from a different point of view. You see, I get what I am seeing is no enlightenment. I'm not seeing the mass public in any way seeing any positive effect of this. In fact, I have law enforcement friends that are telling me things that what I'm trying to say to you, Trina, is that I see this as a living entity, that this internet is not what it's not. I guess what I'm trying to say, it certainly doesn't seem to be bringing any positive effect.
Yes and no. Because knowledge is power, and a lot of people are getting a lot of knowledge. So they have access to information they've never had before, at, just instantly right there on your phone. So I can see the positive as well as the negative. Right now, we're changing an age, and the agenda was set, I think, to do some really dark things, and the agenda hasn't gone as planned. And it's like, you look at consciousness studies,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason things are so screwed up is because actually this is starting to happen in small pockets upon the planet, and they're paying attention to this and they're getting freaked out. Just like Rex the other day, he did a conscious awareness meditation to send positive energy to California, and he literally paid attention to the news and the reporting of what came out within 24 hours of doing that, and he could literally see that it had an effect. This is real, but we
What
need to
effect would that
actually
be?
do it.
I'm trying to
There
understand.
was like random acts of kindness, like being noticed, just weird stuff. Less crime over 24 hours, stuff like that. Just, not monumental woohoo, but a change, a difference in the vibration and the frequency. And this study's been done over and over again. They've had groups that prey on a country that's warring, and the war literally will stop for like 2 or 3 days, and then it'll resume. But
So
they
who
literally
are they praying
measure
to?
this.
That's
Huh?
I said, who are they praying to?
They're not praying to any one God. They're praying for a focused intention like peace. There,
Well,
so what?
I'll have to look into those studies because
Yeah,
I
look at
haven't.
Dr. Emoto. He's done a lot of work with this, and there's a lot of studies. And then, like I said, the 30 monks that prayed on that water that was so toxic for 30 days, and they made it drinkable.
Now I can see that, and then
Yep.
but I'm just leery of some of these things, of some of the claims I hear like that, because um, I it's so often manipulated.
It is, but man, I've
Yeah.
seen people walk on fire, and I've seen miracles. Once you start seeing this stuff enough, there's no more doubting
Oh, I mean, I'm
what
not
we can
saying that
do.
we
Yeah,
don't see it.
we're Wayne, that we just got to get together and we need to like do it. It's groups. It's got to be done
Hmm.
groups. It's like we have a lot of power on our own, but it's not even the same as groups. Why do you think all of these powerful people in the world all get together?
Oh, listen.
Yeah, they're doing
Yeah, I
some
know it
powerful
very
stuff
well.
in
You
groups.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
powerful stuff.
Well, the whole thing that I did on thought forms is manifestation of that.
Hmm.
And it's just that I don't know, I like I said, I have a lot of good friends in law enforcement, and things have changed. And in their lives, they're not seeing the positive. They're seeing the the everyday point of humanity, which I've had more than one tell me it's going in the toilet.
Yeah, I see that, it's the great divide. I think we're seeing the division of a species, one that's going to go transpersonal human and one that's going to stay organic. And I
Yeah,
think that's what we're seeing now.
yeah.
And a lot of people that aren't sure which way they want to go, they're probably in internal absolute utter chaos.
Oh, there's no doubt of that. And
Yeah, so it's
I'm just
causing,
glad that there's cops that actually tune in and listen. It's like
yeah,
it shows that they're seeking that level of frequency,
yeah,
to combat.
understand what is all the
Yeah,
craziness.
And I'm telling you, it's like we're here in Denver. I mean, the things that people are doing are
Here too.
it's insane. It's
Yeah.
like something is, I don't know. I mean, we
You
were
know,
almost killed
you
by.
know Santo Spinici?
Mhm.
Have you heard of him? The
Oh yeah,
work,
I've done
Mr.
things on
Yeah,
him. Yeah.
Mr. Astrotheology.
Mhm.
Him and his friend, they were attacked the other night in their apartment. Some psychopath with intention came with a knife and a baseball bat and tried to kill them, and they defended their lives, but the attacker died.
You see, that is, and I'm not being
Right.
negative here. I'm just trying to be realistic. Is that there is this dichotomy going on.
There is.
I'd like to spread our group of influence out a lot more because I feel sorry for these people.
Yeah, well, think about it, Wayne, and it's all going back to where is home and what are we?
Where is home?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like these people are so afraid of dying. They want to try to live forever and do all this stuff. So they're acting on the most primal fear that we have as a
Mm.
human being is the fear of death. And this is their MO. They have no trust in their spirit and their soul.
None.
So I think when more of us are starting to connect to that truth and that reality and anchoring solidly into that knowing and not having any fear, I think the fear of others is going to really get stronger because it's
Mm.
about that. Everything has to have its perfect opposite to hold together.
Boy, I wonder how we could. There has to be a process to reach a message to the youth that there is an alternative. Not religion, not theology, not ideology, but the simple basis of, I like how we said this, where is home?
Yeah. I think home is consciousness, it's imagination, it's
Yeah,
thought.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, when I leave, um, I'm going back home.
me too.
Yeah, I think we all are. Well, and apparently home can mean many different things. Wow, this whole hour, where did the hour go?
Holy moly. You know,
Oh,
Wayne, I've seen that too, that he showed me that there's so many mansions in heaven, and those are
yes,
dimensions. Those are dimensions. Yeah.
yeah.
And you really truly do gravitate to your like tribe, like you vibe with your tribe.
Mm,
You go with like-minded individuals. And I literally saw that because we're in the realms that we're, and I don't know why, but I remember having to do retrieval of souls. Like they would send me to go get souls out of a darker dimension and bring it up to the next one. And that was because of their own call. So,
wow.
but we get sent sometimes to go get them and bring them up to another dimension. It was so funny. A couple of times I screwed up and took them to the wrong one, and they're like, "Nope, not here. This one has to go this way or this way." I was like, "Okay," but yeah, we do that. We help each other on so many levels. We just don't have any remembrance of it.
I just wrote this down. I like it. May you do something with it. Your vibe leads you to your tribe.
It does, like a magnet.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's
we
going to,
vibe with our tribe, Wayne.
your vibe will lead you to your tribe. Well,
Yep,
this has been a delightful discussion.
as
It's,
always.
this is why I like it. It's a second look. It allows us to look at things from, yeah, again, just on this. And as we've seen, there is, I don't know if the revival is the right word, but there is, there is something afoot. I'll put it that way. I think it's positive.
Yeah, it's a remembering. People are
Yeah.
starting to remember, and that remembering process is hard because it shifts your belief systems and it throws you off balance a little bit. But once you gain your footing again, you're going to be standing in a much stronger position because you're going to lose fear. That's the only thing you're going to lose is fear.
Yeah. And if you lose the fear of death, this life becomes so much more enriched. It
Yeah.
really is an opportunity to begin to make plans over there by doing things here.
Yeah, and trying to remember where we actually came from. Like I have a remembrance of the higher dimensions, and we can do this by going into trance and meditation and different spiritual practices. You can start to get glimpses of these memories that are truly yours, and they're all inside the causal body.
Folks, there you go. I think that was the best way to lead us out, Trina.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, my dear. Look forward to seeing you again next week. And this has been a great, great conversation.
Yeah,
I'm going to go
it
back.
always is with you, Wayne. I'm just like, I love my weekly coffee with
Thank you.
Wayne and brain crushing with Wayne.
Oh, man. And we do, and we'll continue to do it because it's an hour that is well spent. That's the only thing I know.
Yes, I love it.
Well, Miss Trina, thank you again. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. You know, we don't really engage too much in the chat room because the conversation is so engaging on the level of that. But thank you, everyone, for participating. Yeah. Y'all are just
trying to let the spirit drive. Try to stay out of the way a little bit.
We are definitely putting it into high gear, Trina, because there is knowledge and revelation knowledge given every time we're here.
Yeah.
People are saying they love you.
Yeah, I love you too, and love you all so much.
Big hugs and hearts going everywhere. So
love you guys.
Okay, Miss Trina, I'll see you next week, hon. Have a great, fabulous week. You know,
too.
I see the puppet dogs. Give them a big hug. I love those puppet dogs.
Me too. They're my buddies. They say our pets might be an aspect of actually our own spirits coming in to watch over us. And that is beautiful.
I believe that. My dog Dancer is a dog that has taught me, we'll get into this but she has actually taught me a great deal. It's amazing what that dog has done.
They are our guides. I
agree with you on that. Yeah. Everyone loves you, Trina. They're just
I love you guys back so much.
All right, my dear. And I know that you're on Brian's channel on, is it Saturday or Sundays?
Yeah, we're flipping it around. I think Saturday he's going to start bringing Halo on for a little bit. Okay. And so Halo Marquise with Mystech. Mm-hmm. So I think they're trying to work that out. So we're going to do one other night. We're not sure yet, but we're just kind of trying to juggle some schedules. So it'll be interesting, but we're still going to be around.
All right. Well, folks, tune in over to Brian's station. Channel Milky Way Messenger. It's a good channel, and subscribe to him. And Trina, you should be posting these conversations on your channel. We need to record them.
I do. Well, I do. I share them. I put it under yours, but I always put them in my live chats.
Yes. You really. We'll get it to where you can actually just post it as a video.
Okay.
All right. Much love, my dear. Thank you, everyone. And I'll see you next week, Trina.
Okay.
Bye-bye.